Your electric bill went up again last month. You didn't use more electricity. You didn't change anything. But the number on that bill keeps climbing. And this summer, it's about to get worse. The U.S. Energy Information Administration confirmed it. Electricity prices have risen 36% since 2020, and they're projecting another 4 to 7% increase in 2026 alone. That means the average American household will spend over $1,600 this year just keeping their home cool. $600 for air that your AC unit is fighting to cool against a ceiling that's actively working against it. But here's what nobody is telling you. There's a sheet of material sitting in hardware stores right now. Costs $5, blocks 97% of the heat trying to enter your home. And it's been used by NASA since the 1960s. You have never been told about it. Not by your utility company. Not by your HVAC contractor. Not by anyone who benefits from the size of your electric bill. Stick with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this material is, why it works better than insulation, where to get it for $5, and how to install it in a single afternoon without tools, without contractors, and without ever writing a $600 check again. This is not a gimmick. This is material science. And once you understand how heat actually moves, you will never look at your attic the same way again. Here's something your AC contractor will never explain to you. Heat doesn't travel in one way. It travels in three. Conduction, heat, moving through solid material like a hot pan on your hand. Convection, heat, moving through air like steam rising off soup. And radiation, heat moving as invisible energy waves like sunlight warming your face through a car window even on a cold day. Your insulation handles conduction. Your insulation handles convection. But radiant heat, your pink fluffy attic insulation, does almost nothing to stop it. Zero. And here's why that matters more than anything else in your home. On a summer day, your roof surface can reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Not the air, the roof itself. That 160 degree surface radiates heat downward as invisible infrared energy. It doesn't need to touch your insulation to heat your attic. It doesn't need air movement. It just radiates directly into the space above your living room. Your attic temperature can hit 140, 150, even 160 degrees on a peak summer afternoon. That heat radiates down through your ceiling, into your living room, and your AC unit runs and runs and runs, trying to fight physics with electricity. And you pay for every single minute of that fight. This is the part that the $47 billion HVAC industry has never had a financial interest in solving permanently. Because a permanent solution doesn't buy new filters, doesn't schedule annual service visits, doesn't justify the $8,000 unit upgrade your contractor keeps suggesting. A permanent solution costs $5 and lasts 20 years. And it's called a radiant barrier. Here's what it actually is. A thin sheet of highly reflective aluminum foil laminated to a backing layer for structural support. That's it. No moving parts, no electricity, no maintenance. The surface of this material has what scientists call a low emissivity rating. Emissivity measures how much thermal radiation a surface releases. Regular drywall has an emissivity of around 0.9. That means it absorbs and re-radiates 90% of the heat that hits it. Radiant barrier foil has an emissivity of 0.03. It reflects 97% of radiant heat back before it ever enters your living space. Not slows it, not reduces it slightly, reflects it. Like a mirror reflects light, the heat hits the foil and bounces back out. And this is not new science. This is not some garage inventor's weekend project. NASA developed reflective barrier technology in the early 1960s to protect astronauts and equipment from the violent radiation of space. No atmosphere up there. Nothing between a spacecraft and the full radiant energy of the sun. Radiant barriers were the solution. They've been used in spacesuits, satellite insulation, and spacecraft shielding for over 60 years. The Department of Energy validated their use in residential buildings. Studies from the Florida Solar Energy Center showed attic temperatures dropped by up to 30 degrees Fahrenheit after radiant barrier installation. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory confirmed energy savings of 5 to 10% on cooling costs in warm climates. In peak summer states like Texas, Arizona, Florida, and Georgia, documented savings run significantly higher. And a $5 roll of this material is sitting on a shelf at Home Depot right now, has been for years. Yet somehow, almost no one knows it exists. That is not an accident. Think about who wins when your AC runs longer. Your utility company charges you more per kilowatt hour every hour that unit runs. Your HVAC contractor bills you when the system strains and breaks down from overuse. Your equipment wears faster and needs replacement sooner. The entire chain profits from a hot attic. A cold attic with a $5 foil sheet is a threat to a supply chain worth billions. Now, let me show you exactly how to use it, and the mistakes that turn it from a miracle into a waste of an afternoon. First, the product. You're looking for foil-faced radiant barrier insulation. It is sold under names like Reflectix, Fifoil, or simply listed as radiant barrier foil. Any home improvement store carries it. A basic roll starts at $5 for a small section. A full roll covering 500 square feet runs $25 to $40. For most homes, 1 or 2 rolls handles the entire attic. Do not buy bubble wrap foil from Amazon with no ratings or specs. You want a product with a listed emissivity rating of 0.03 to 0.05. That number is the whole game. Anything higher than 0.05, and you are losing the battle before you start. Second, placement, and this is where most people get it wrong. They read attic insulation, and they lay the foil flat on the attic floor, on top of their existing insulation. Do not do this. A radiant barrier only works when there is an air gap on at least one side of the foil. Without an air gap, you are not reflecting heat. You're just adding another layer of material that conducts it. The correct placement is on the underside of the roof rafters. Staple it to the rafters so it hangs below your roof deck with open air on both sides. Now the radiant heat coming off the roof hits the foil first. 97% bounces back up and out. 3% passes through before it ever reaches your attic floor, before it ever reaches your ceiling, before your AC unit ever has to deal with it. This is not complicated. You need a staple gun, a utility knife, and a Saturday morning. No contractor, no permit in most jurisdictions. No professional installation required. Cut the foil to fit between your rafters. Staple it up, work your way across the attic. Done. My first summer after installing this in a woman out 400 square foot home, attic temperature dropped from 147 degrees to 112 degrees on the same 98 degree afternoon. Electric bill dropped $67 the first month, $71 the second. That's a full return on a $28 material investment in 13 days. After that, every dollar saved is money the utility company is no longer getting from you. In hot climate states, homeowners with properly installed radiant barriers report 15 to 25% reductions in summer cooling costs. At current electricity rates, on an average home, that's $200 to $400 back in your pocket every single summer from a material that costs less than a pizza. Now, here's the part where I give you the full picture, because this channel doesn't hide limitations. Radiant barriers are most effective in hot climates with long cooling seasons. If you live somewhere that's cold 9 months of the year, the savings calculation changes. The product still works, but your ROI timeline stretches out. In northern climates, focus on south and west facing roof sections where summer sun exposure is highest. Also, radiant barriers do not replace conventional insulation. They work alongside it. If your attic has less than R30 insulation already, add more before installing the barrier. The barrier stops radiant heat. The insulation stops conducted heat. You need both working together for maximum effect. And one more thing, foil facing down in the attic collects dust over time. Dust degrades reflectivity. A light wipe down every few years keeps it performing at full capacity. That's the entire maintenance schedule. Once every few years, with a cloth. Here is what lands with me every time I think about this. The same material that protects astronauts hurtling through the radiation of open space. The same technology NASA spent millions developing in the early 1960s. Is available to every homeowner in America for $5 at a hardware store. And yet, American households collectively spend over $29 billion cooling their homes every summer. According to the EIA, residential air conditioning accounts for nearly 6% of all electricity produced in the United States. That is an almost incomprehensible amount of energy being spent fighting a heat transfer problem that a foil sheet solved 60 years ago. The physics did not change. The product did not change. The only thing that changed is whether you know to staple it to your rafters. Electricity is not going to get cheaper. The EIA has already told us that. 4 to 7% more this year. More increases projected through 2027 as grid demand climbs and infrastructure ages. The bill is going up. The only variable is how much of your attic you cover before next summer hits. A $5 foil sheet cannot stop what the utility companies are about to charge you, but it can cut the amount of power they get to sell you by 15 to 25% every single cooling season for the next 20 years. I don't know what your situation is or why you're watching this. Maybe your bill this month crossed a number that made you stop and look it up. Maybe you're building something and you want to do it right from the start. Maybe you're just someone who finds it genuinely offensive that a 60-year-old NASA technology has been sitting at Home Depot for $5, while millions of families run their AC units into the ground, trying to fight a physics problem nobody told them they could solve. It doesn't matter which one brought you here. The answer is the same. Radiant barrier foil, stapled to the underside of your roof rafters. Air gap on both sides. Done. 97% of the radiant heat that's been winning this fight against your AC all these years, stopped, reflected, before it ever gets to cost you a single dollar. Now you know. And now you own that knowledge for every summer that comes after this one. Take care, and I'll see you in the next.